Hi, Nancy here with Gentle Ventures. I am going to be talking to you about what a newborn care specialist does for her night duty. I happen to be on a job right now with Lily. She was born at 7 pounds and 13 ounces and came home at 7 pounds and 3 ounces. Now, that's not unusual. Babies generally lose about 10% of their weight in the hospital, simply because, especially if mom is breastfeeding, she's only giving the baby colostrum, which is like 1 teaspoon at a time, maybe 2. And so the baby is not getting a lot to eat. And so until mom's milk comes in, there may be a little bit of weight loss. So Lily came home at 7 pounds and 3 ounces, I believe, or 2, I can't remember. And I started on the second night of from her birth. So she was born on Sunday. I started on Tuesday. My hours are going to be Sunday. No, I take that back. They changed it. It's Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 a.m., 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. And my main objective for this job is going to be sleep conditioning this baby to sleep 12 hours by 12 weeks, except for one thing. They want it done in 6 weeks. And I'm like, no, that can't be done. However, I will do my best to do what I can in the 6-week period. So that's where we stand right now. So I am going to walk you through the first 4 weeks, because that's where I am right now. And then we will continue on until my job is complete, just so you can see little snippets of what I do, or what any newborn care specialist does on the job. So I got on the job on a Tuesday night. I started on a Tuesday night, and Lily had just gotten home from the hospital. Mom's milk had not come in yet, and they requested that Lily be put on Designed by Nature's goat's milk formula after mom had breastfed for an hour. I thought that was very reasonable, because during 30 minutes on each side, the baby should be able to get what they need. And then we're going to top it off just to make sure, because the baby was not sleeping well. She was real cranky and she was doing a lot of crying, and I knew she was hungry. So we started off by doing that. Now, we always swaddle the babies for sleep. So the baby may not have to be swaddled when they're awake, when they're feeding, when they're breastfeeding, when they're bottle feeding. But when we get ready to put them down for their sleep, we do swaddle them back up. Lily loved double swaddles. It was just a little bit on the chilly side in the nursery. And I found that when I single swaddled her, which I did the first night, she was pretty restless. When I double swaddled her, she seemed to do much, much better. So she was jelly. Her little hands felt cold. Her little feet felt cold. I also had mom put socks on her from now on. So we've got the first night. One more thing. We also had a sound machine in the room at all times in the nursery that was on when she slept at loud. So it was loud, because when a baby is in utero, the sounds that a mother's tummy makes inside of her body is as loud as a lawnmower. So that's how loud we had on the sound machine. The first week, it's always the most difficult. So we encountered quite a few issues the first week. The first one, and probably the biggest one, was that on the I came the second night. The third night, mom was engorged. And although she was using a breast pump and she was nursing, the milk would not come. So her milk would not let down, it would not come. My first thought was that she was tense, because I've had moms that were so tense that their milk could not let down. So I had her take a hot shower, see if that would release the milk. We did a few other things that should have relaxed her. She could have a glass of wine if she wanted to. She chose not to do that. Although that has been proven to actually relax them enough to let the milk down, but she preferred not to do that, which was fine. The next thing that we went to was that we checked the size of her pump, which was not a hospital grade pump. And I asked her if they could please revisit that and maybe get a hospital grade pump, which they did. The flange size seemed to be off. And so that we adjusted the flange size, and also had her do some breast massage to help that milk come down. Those three things together seem to really, really help mom's milk come down, and it started to release. On the slide that you should be looking at now, hopefully, you will find a link to the flange, how to get the correct flange size, and how to do the breast massage. So both of those things should be covered in that. It's a YouTube video that you can watch. It's excellent. They're both excellent. And you'll have to excuse me because I want to look at my notes. I don't want to forget anything here. So what we found was that Lily was eating 30 minutes on each side, and then taking a bottle of 1.5 to 2 ounces of formula after that hour of eating. And what we also found was that tended to overstimulate her. She was not a happy camper. She was not a happy camper. So let's move on to week 2. This was all that happened in week 1 that I can think of right now. So here comes week 2. Okay, week 2, I'm gonna look at my notes again because I wanna make sure I don't forget anything. The first thing that we did was cut Lily's feeds back from 30 minutes on each side to 20 minutes on each side, and then 20 minutes with the bottle. She did so much better. She was not overtired after her bottle. She went to sleep. Before, she was and waking and sleeping and really restless. She was overtired. So we want to make sure that we're not overtaxing this tiny, tiny baby. She's only in her 2nd week of life. We have also upped her bottle feeds from 2.5 to 3 ounces. And to me, this makes no sense because I can see what mom is pumping because she puts it in the refrigerator. So I know that the baby is getting ample feed with breast milk, but then she goes to the bottle and she wants an additional, this is a 2-week-old baby, 2.5 ounces. So although that did not make any sense to me, I was happy that she was doing so well. And we were doing more and more breast milk in the bottle instead of the formula because mom was producing more and more and more. So now we were doing she's getting 2 bottles a night generally. And so she would get, the first bottle would be all formula, and the second bottle would be the Designed by Nature. Now, she was doing like 3.5 to 4 hour stretches. So I wasn't doing anything. I was letting the sleep conditioning take over. Now, sleep conditioning happens when the baby is getting adequate food for the day. They will sleep longer at night. It's automatic. When you have a baby on a good 3-hour schedule, and that means that you wake them up at the 3-hour mark from the last time that you stuck the bottle in their mouth. So if you woke a baby up at 7 o'clock in the morning and was feeding her by 7:05, the next time you'd wake her up would be 10 o'clock to put the bottle in her mouth by 10:05. That is what we call a strict 3-hour schedule. Now, if she woke up early, which she never has, but if she would have, then we would have gone ahead and fed her. Not any more often than every 2.5 hours, but 2.5 to 3 hours is perfectly fine for this age. I think she was getting enough food for each feed that she could sleep right through until the next 3-hour mark. Now, at 2 weeks old, she was also, I've just got to make sure we have this on track here. She was also getting her days and her nights turned around. In the middle of the night, she would be like that. And I would be like, oh no, this is not good. So we arranged for them to have a good awake time during the day. So at the 10 o'clock feed, they would give her a sponge bath because her umbilical cord had not fallen off yet. So they would give her a sponge bath, or they would do some tummy time with her, or they would do something that would keep her awake for maybe 15 minutes. That's it. So the average time for a newborn to be awake is between an hour and 15 minutes. We don't want to go beyond that hour and 15 minutes. That's too much for a newborn. Then they're wrapped up and put back down. So when they started doing the sponge bath during the day or doing that special stretching for the 15 minutes, she slept at night. So let's move on to week 3. Yes, week 3. Week 3 is such a different, fun week, kind of, because the baby starts to what we call wake up. She is starting to find her voice, find her personality. And Lily has a big personality. She goes from 0 to 60 in less than time than it takes me to take a breath. She has got this take care of me right now attitude. She also has a temper. So if you leave her, for instance, I will, when she wakes up at night, the first thing I do is wait maybe a minute just to make sure she's not going to go back to sleep. Then I will get out of bed because I sleep when the baby sleeps. I'll get out of bed, go into the kitchen, and get the bottle ready. Now, the bottle has been setting out, so it's room temperature, and it really is fine. I feed babies room temperature milk all the time, but I like to kind of because this apartment is really, really chilly, I like to take the chill off of it a little bit more, so I'll put it in a little bit of hot water. So I'll put it in a little bit of hot water, and I'll take it back to the nursery. By the time I get back, let's just say it's been 3 minutes since she woke up. She is so angry. She's holding her breath. She's so angry. So her little personality is starting to come out. She's starting to be more alert. They'll start to be more alert. They'll look around a little bit more. Dad says that she's more interactive. She says she doesn't smile on purpose yet, but she's very intent on what you're saying. And every once in a while, she'll give kind of a little thing that looks like a smile. So he's real excited about that. We have changed the feeds to oh, wait a minute. We changed the feeds to the 20-minute feeds last week. So that I've got that turned around a little bit on here. There's been no gas. I think she spit up a total of maybe 3 times in the 3 weeks. She just doesn't spit up very often. So we don't worry about that. There's been no gas. There's been no tummy issues. And it is now at And well, let me think, how long is she sleeping now? I believe she's sleeping a pretty solid 4 hours each feed right now. And this is the 3rd week. So let's move on to the 4th week. Okay, week 4, here we are. We are starting the nighttime routine. So when we start the nighttime routine, here's what we do. The baby needs to have a sleep cue that will tell them that they're transitioning from being up every 3 hours and being fed to sleeping for longer periods of time. And the way that we do that is that we put them on a routine. Now, the nighttime sleep routine starts at 4 p.m. You got 4 p.m. That's kind of like early, but no, it's really not. Here's how it works. 4 p.m. they get up for their 4 o'clock feed. You feed them and keep them up for their hour plus 15 minutes, because now by week 4, they're having 2 awake times. They're having 1 at 10 and 1 at 4. So you're going to keep them up till 5:15. Then you're going to wrap them, swaddle them up, and put them down for their cat nap for 45 minutes. Now, the people that I am with right now actually put her in a carrier and go for a walk during that 45 minutes, which is also perfect. Just perfect. Anything that you can do to get the baby back to sleep for that 45 minutes. At the end of that 45 minutes, which is about 6 o'clock, you're going to wake the baby up and start whatever nighttime routine that you have decided will work for you every night. Some people want to make it really fast. So they do a song, the exact same song or the exact same book every night. And they may feed in the same place. That's the only time that they feed in the dark in the nursery. And maybe that's the only routine they have. Now, the couple that I'm with right now are giving the baby a bath at 6 o'clock, giving her a baby massage, and then they are singing a song to her. They're getting her dressed, double swaddled, sitting in the dark in the nursery, and she gets the bottle for the bedtime routine at 6 o'clock. The reason that we're doing the bottle instead of breastfeeding is because she takes the bottle faster, and by that time she's really exhausted, and we don't want to make her overtired. During the rest of the day, at this point, she's on exclusively breast milk. Now, mom is nursing her 20 minutes on each side, 20 minutes with the bottle, but everything is breast milk. We are no longer using the Design by Nature goat's milk, which, by the way, was fabulous. The baby had no reactions, did very, very, very well. I highly recommend that. Since we started the nighttime routine, she has slept from about 7 o'clock. By the time they get her back down again, it's about 7 o'clock until at least 12 or 1 o'clock. So this is marvelous. Now, we do have a little hiccup in there as she's waking up at 10:30. And that seemed to be pretty consistent, except for the very last night, which was this last Saturday night, which she slept all the way through. She was waking up at 10:30, and she would maybe cry for a minute and go back to sleep. A couple of times I will let her go, and with the parent's permission, I let her go from 3 to 7 minutes, depending on what the cry sounds like. If it's just then I let her go like for 7 minutes, because she'll quit and then she'll start, and then she'll quit and then she'll start. But if she's 0 to 60, then 3 minutes is about as long as I'll let her go. And then I will put the pacifier in her mouth. Now, I'll either sit by the crib and hold it in her mouth like this. Do not let her spit it out. Got to be held like this. And I will tell you that this little girl is so stubborn. She hates that pacifier sometimes. And she hates it when she knows that she thinks she needs to eat. So I had her cry through the pacifier, scream through the pacifier for 2 minutes the other night. And I was like, boy, you are the most stubborn little girl. But then all of a sudden she took it and she was asleep and she slept for 3 more hours. So it was just a matter of stretching that way, and getting her over that little hump, that little 10:30 hump. And Saturday night, she actually slept the entire time without waking up. So it seems to be working. And I am at week 5 and I haven't done week 5 yet. So what I'm going to do is cement that 7 to 1 before I move it from 7 to 2. After the 1 or 2 o'clock feed, whatever it is, 12, 1, 2 o'clock feed, then I feed her when she wakes up next. And that's usually 4 hours. But if it is 3 hours, I would feed her then, because it's just like a thank you, because you did this one long stretch. I'm going to feed you when you wake up next. And that's basically how I do the stretching. Now, there are some people that will do the stretching like 4 hours the first feed, 4 hours the second feed, and then 4 hours the third feed. And then the next week it'll be 5, 5, 5. So what you do is, for every week old the baby is, that's how long they should be sleeping straight. So I have a 4-week-old baby. She should be sleeping 4 hours straight, and she is doing marvelous with that. She's way ahead. But most babies are pretty much on track with that. So 4 hours, I'll sleep 4 hours, and the next week they're 5 weeks old. So then I'll stretch them to the 5-hour mark. And that's how the sleep conditioning works. The more food that they intake during the day, the less that they need during the night. And the way you find out how much a baby needs is you take their weight. So let's just say the baby is 8 pounds times 2.5, and that's 20. And so that means that she should have 20 ounces of food during a 24-hour period. Now, this baby is far suppressing that. She is taking 5 ounces at each feed at night. And I assume that she's doing pretty close to that during the day also. In fact, I know she is because I've looked at her log. So she is a big eater. She's not a big baby. I mean, she's healthy, but she's not fat or anything. But you have to remember that when they're drinking breast milk, especially, their body utilizes all of that. So she is doing amazing. I hope that you will tune in to see what happens in the next 4 weeks. This is Nancy Ham. I am the teacher at GentleVentures.com. And we have courses online. I hope you'll take a look at them. Thank you very much and have a great day. See you in another week. Bye.